What is up, everybody? Welcome into another TFA show. Tonight, going to come at you with a little live Dynasty rookie mock draft. Got six of us bros rocking here tonight. We have Zac Reed joining us. I think might be your first time on TFA, correct, Zac?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So Zac Reed from the Dynasty Dummies. We have DJ Debbie D, the Emmy Award winner, Mr. Big J Mike, Robby, and myself. Boys, how we doing tonight? How's everybody feeling?
Fantastic, Cody. Pumped up to talk some rookies with y'all.
Yeah, me too. I'm just my kid's throwing a fit right now, so I was kind of riding the mute. I didn't mean to leave you hanging there, Cody. Thank you for kicking it off. I'm excited to jump into these rookies in here. This is a group of fantastic football minds that I'm personally just gonna, soak in all this knowledge that's about to get dropped and apply it to my own rookie drafts. After I probably blow these picks.
For those of you who don't know, David is just going to be drafting based off of a pre-populated ranking sheet. So
that's untrue. I have opinions about these players.
Out him.
It's like whenever it comes up in the queue, he just hits next. Just that's how we're gonna roll. So let's kick this off. We have Walito rocking with us as always in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Hit us with that thumbs up and a subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. Zac, since you are this is your first time on the show, we're going to give you the 101, and we are going to do a Superflex rookie mock draft. So Zac, you are on the clock officially.
I mean, that's too easy. I think in Superflex, I don't think I can go anywhere except for Trevor Lawrence. Even if I wanted to, the value in quarterbacks is so high, and specifically the value with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you're not getting out of the first round of a startup without him going right now. So that's where I'll go. I'll take the coward's way out. I'll take the easy way out. It was nice to have this as a warm up. For the picks down the road that are going to be a little bit more of a decision to make.
Little softball to get you started, get you warmed up with the scouts.
Hey, got to get that rotator cuff going so you don't mess anything up. J Mike, I wanted to give you that 101 since that is your presumed Jacksonville Jaguars who are going to be making that selection of Lawrence. But I couldn't do that to Zac with his first time being on the show. I want him to like us. So I'm going to give you you got the 102, J Mike.
If anyone deserves the 101, it is my dear brother Zac. So I can dig that. I can dig that there. So 102, definitely. I feel like this has become more and more of a discussion for a lot of people. And the more that I dig into things, it's less and less a discussion for me. So yeah, quarterback. Justin Fields out of Ohio State, 102. Stop playing with my emotions. Stop playing games. For me, again, a lot closer to Lawrence than he is the rest of the field. So Justin Fields, 102. Book it.
Carl Jr., give us an Emmy Award-winning 103.
103. I'm going Naji Harris, running back, Alabama. My feeling is this. This guy is grading out for a lot of people ahead of even last year's class. If you combine both of these classes together this year and last year, I think he's incredibly dynamic. I mean, he put on a show, not to like, I think I said on the last time we were together, like island games. He was in a lot of island games in the playoffs, so that factors into the process. I got a lot going on behind me right now that's throwing me off, but Naji Harris. I know people will probably start out all three quarterbacks right now, but I'm mixing it up.
Berg has his mortgage on the line on an amateur's tennis match right now, so you'll have to excuse him. Robby, I know where you're going to go at 104, so I'm going to throw to DJ Debbie D. Dwight, who you have at 104?
Dwight appears to be frozen.
He looks good, though.
Yeah, don't put me in a box. This is what happens when you put me in a box and you assume you know my position on a player.
I don't. What? Am I frozen or what?
Oh, there you are.
Okay. All right. I get 104. I went
Up.
Devonte Williams. So
I heard it.
Wow.
There it is. Javonte. We might not get the analysis, but we know the pick. Well, Robbie, I think you're going to get your guy here anyway, so I'll throw this next softball up to you. Up, hit, hop, hop.
Yeah, no, you would have been correct. My pick, either at the 103, 104, now at the 105, would have been Zack Wilson. He is my QB3, just slightly behind Fields. I really like him, and it's apparent that he's going to the Jets, and we'll see if that landing spot is as we hope it will be, as coming out from what the Jets have been the past couple of years. We're hoping that starts to turn around with Mike LaFleur, with hopefully they can bring in a highly touted running back. That would be fantastic. Maybe even Najee Harris or Devonte Williams or Travis Etienne. So, yeah, I'm hopeful for the Jets to maybe turn around and Zack Wilson be a big part of that.
I have my ranks in front of me, but I feel really dumb to not take Jamar Chase here.
Chaos.
I feel like I can't let him go to 107. Like, it just feels disgusting. Like, I don't like being put in this position. But I'm going Trey Lance. I gotta do it. Like, it feels like it's so like I might just have to pass the buck, because I'm just gonna sit here and just end up having a convulsion of not, like, the fact that Jamar Chase is still sitting here at 106 and I just can't take, like, give me Lance. I have him at 103 here actually. He is my QB3. J-Mike, I don't know if you changed your ranks, but we used to be on the same page. Still on the same page.
Cody, I think this is a comment right to you, since you skipped over what is Jamar Chase for Trey Lance. I think people are questioning what is this even?
is this?
He came in, I said 106 Trey Lance, and he's just like, I'm out of here.
What are we even doing?
I don't know. It is a great question. Pulseba, Ibra, rocking with us on Twitch. What this is us fucking up a Dynasty rookie mock that you are not going to want to follow. This is going to be wrong. We're showing you what not to do. For anyone who's joining us right now, the first 6 picks were Trevor Lawrence at 1, Justin Fields at 2, Najee Harris, Devonte Williams, Zack Wilson at 105, and I took Trey Lance at 106. Dwight even hates it. Dwight hated it so much he just bounced. So we're gonna go back to Zach for 107.
And I got to tell you, I really like the Lance pick there. The more that I look at this class, the more I think that there are 4 quarterbacks with that Konami code, that rushing upside, the ability to throw. They're all better passers than most of the rushing quarterbacks that we've seen in the last few classes. So I like that Lance pick. That's where I would have gone had you passed up on him. But Jamar Chase falling in my lap at 107 is, that's part. How could you can't write this up any better? So yeah, I'll go there. I think that he is one of the 3 wide receivers I have in the top tier, and I think if you're talking pure upside and couple that with draft capital, couple that with past performance, it's Jamar Chase here.
Gosh, just killing it. Just absolutely killing this draft.
I mean, I got the QB 1 and the wide receiver 1. What do you want?
We're going to end up leaving pits for you too somehow.
J-Mike.
what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like Pitts actually might land in one of these picks that we've had so far in some drafts. I've definitely heard some other mocks out there where he does. I feel like that's a mistake.
So I saw a great tweet the other day, and it was I can actually pull it up because I sent it to myself, and it was at Clutch Fantasy. It was Jacob Rickroad, and he said, if we knew that Kyle Pitts was going to be the next Travis Kelce and Jamar Chase was going to be the next DeAndre Hopkins, you're going to draft Pitts over Chase every time. And I think he's right. The question then becomes, how confident are you in Pitts becoming Travis Kelce? Because we've seen 3 players in the last 10 years have that overall upside with Kelce, Gronk, and occasionally Kittle. Like, that's been it with that uber elite tight end. Are you confident that A guy's going to come out as a rookie and do that? And B, is Pitts going to come out and lap the field in tight ends? Because if he doesn't, he's just another tight end. And look, I have Pitts graded out as the best tight end in this class by quite a sight, but I also think there are 2 or 3 other guys who are going to produce that are going to go later. And honestly, if he's going ahead of guys like Hawkinson and Dallas Goedert in your startups, like, I don't know. I'll punt. I mean, Robbie, you know me. I'm going to punt tight end, and I'm going to take a scatter shot at the back end, and I'm going to hit one of those guys who's a top 10 tight end without paying anything for him.
Yeah, I figured we would get to the tight end talk with Zach on the show, and I'm there for it as well, because can he do it? I absolutely think he can, but we've seen more often than not that these rookie tight ends take a year, sometimes 2. Gesicki was touted, as a guy that we would really, really like. Great pro day, ran extremely fast. Just a ton of things that you were like, Gesicki can be this guy, and he was, nothing first year. Started to get something second year. He's just starting to build into what we want 3 years, and now going 4 years down the road. So I think that's not a similar comp, but I can see something like that happening where maybe he doesn't go off year 1. And then what do you have? You have, what could be, right? I feel like we chased that potential with Hunter Henry for forever. And I was guilty of it more than anybody else with Hunter Henry. Okay, this is the year. This is the year, and you're right, Zach. If they're not one of those top 2, maybe even a third, some years we get a third, then you're just in that schlum of everybody else, right? And at that point, I like Zach's methodology of, let's take a guy late, a pair of guys, 3 guys late, and I'll have a better shot there.
Well, and Pitts is the one tight end in the last 4 or 5 years that I would consider taking in the first round, but he's going to go before I pick him. And that's just how it's going to be. I've got him lower than most people. And it is. I mean, we've chased Gesicki. We've chased Fant. We've chased Evan Ingram. We've chased Hawkinson. And it's even back to O.J. Howard and David Njoku. And like, we've chased all of these tight ends. And you said Hunter Henry. Like, it's really hard to see a player being transcendent like Kelce, even though the profile says he can be. The bet to me is Jamar Chase is going to be a better shot, a better chance at that ultimate ceiling than a tight end, regardless of who the tight end is.
What pick are we at now? That was a great discussion.
J Mike, wait.
Yeah, J Mike, go ahead and follow that up, bud.
This is a really interesting spot for me in a lot of drafts, because we've got the running back that I love so dearly here. We've got my top film graded wide receiver still here. We've got the aforementioned Kyle Pitts still here. I would get real technical and ask, hey, what exactly is the premium that we're working with here in this hypothetical league we've got? But I won't sit there. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Y'all probably want me to take Mac Jones, and I can do my John Michael Bosch impression here, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to bypass the quarterback here one time for the one time. I'm going to throw a wrench in this thing, and I'm going to go Devonte Smith, because I would be really upset if y'all let him fall to the second round. I'd be a little upset. So I'm not going to allow you all to disrespect the man today. Devonte Smith, wide receiver, obviously out of Alabama. I just feel like he does everything incredibly well. He has, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily start a discussion, but Devonte Smith, special player. I'm excited for it.
J. Mike, were you aware that he won't get weighed? Did you know that?
Yeah, J. Mike, not sure if you know this, but he's pretty small.
He's as brittle as crispy bacon. Did you know that, J. Mike? Yeah, I'm aware. I got it, and
he's also as thin as that crispy bacon as well.
Yeah, I know it. Not even a thick cut either. Just the non-premium stuff.
J. Mike, let me send you a link to his freshman year production.
He definitely he has a feeling like he could be something big because of how much we're discounting him. It's tough.
Anyone
man.
else get those vibes with I mean, we picked Fields at 2 here, but like some people are like J. Mike was saying, he's getting like the discussion at the second pick overall. A lot of people are leaning towards Wilson. And even it feels like the NFL draft might be kind of disrespecting Fields. The NFL itself might be disrespecting Fields. Right. And he's just set up in a position to just ball out, and people be like, well, how the hell did he fall to 7 or 8 in the draft?
Y'all made him mad.
Or 15.
Yeah.
No. How did he fall to 15?
No hopes for a New England 2 there.
You will get Mac Jones, and you will like it.
No, you can't. Well, I mean, it's better than nothing, but you can't make me like it as much as Fields.
Yeah. I think it's my pick now, right?
Yep.
Now I'm casting myself as a robust running back bully here, which I don't know that I mean, I'm a pretty big guy, so I guess I do fit the part, but ideology-wise, I'm not super into drafting running backs early and often in a redraft league, but I'm going back-to-back running backs and taking Travis Etienne out of Clemson with the 109. I'm in a league with both Robbie and J. Mike where I currently hold the 108, and I did a mock recently where Etienne was falling to me at 108, and I was like, could this really happen? And now I'm getting him here at 109. I'm like, wow, this seems like a real possibility. I mean, years past, those running backs go so early, but just how things are shaken out with it being so QB heavy at the front, and all these guys really having a chance to be fantasy studs at the quarterback position. It's knocking down these running backs that could really produce. And Etienne, I think, really showed some pop this year out of the backfield, catching the ball as well. I wouldn't say he's a natural pass catcher, but he put in the jugs work. And so I think, he's got all around workhorse, bell cow, upside, whatever, all that good stuff that people like to say. And smashing the button at 109, Travis Etienne.
And that's a crazy thing. I mean, obviously we're only 9 picks in, but like there's nothing in this mock that's like, oh well, that was the pick that allowed him to fall. This first round is just completely stacked with talent. Like no matter where you're sitting, like there's gonna be somebody who falls to you that you like. Real quick on this one before I kick it over to DJ Debbie D. Lance Ohai, one, this is a Superflex rookie mock, if you did not catch that at the top. And 2, I honestly think like he absolutely has the lowest floor, but I truly believe he also has the highest ceiling among these quarterbacks. Like his arm talent is Josh Allen-esque, and he also has the wheels to go along with it. I do think he does need to sit for a year to kind of, there's really not a lot of tape on him. Not a lot of reps that he has at the collegiate level, and it was obviously at a lower program as well. But he's one of these guys who could be a bust, and he could also just completely ball out. But in a super flex, I like what I have seen so far, and that's kind of why I have Lance that high. Dwight, 110.
All right, just because it is super flex, I will take Mac Jones here. I'm not the biggest believer
Sucker.
of Mac Jones. I do not think San Francisco should take him at number 3. I think that would be a huge mistake. But if he lands in San Francisco, I like the opportunity with a good team around him. Obviously, Shanahan is a head coach there. So Mac Jones is a solid quarterback. He's not going to be the type that's going to win you games like Trevor Lawrence, but he's not going to be the type to lose you too many also. I think he makes really good decisions with the ball. So he feels like kind of a safe pick here. They're so deep at wide receiver. I feel like I can get guys I want in the second easy. So I'll take Mac Jones here just because of the highest value left. It is super flex. So we'll go Mac Jones.
And I know that Mac Jones is someone that Zach has said that if he does land somewhere like San Francisco at 3 overall, then a lot of his skills can be maximized in terms of maximizing the ability for the playmakers to make plays. Zach, you want to talk through that real quick, because I know that some of this audience may not have heard that before.
That's the thing. To me, Mac Jones is going to be better for whatever team and the receivers on the team that he lands on than he is going to be for your fantasy team. Mac Jones, for my money, watching him he puts the ball on guys with the chance for them to get yards after the catch like nobody else in this class. Like, he throws better balls for the receiver. I mean, he's not making necessarily the splash plays. It's not like watching Zack Wilson where he's rolling to his left and he fires back across the body, sideline to sideline to his right. But Zack Wilson will he's just a tick to me off, where a lot of his receivers will catch it. They have to make an adjustment and get hit. Whereas Mac Jones is throwing the ball out in front, leading them. They have a chance to catch it and tack on yards. So I love it for the team that he lands on, but I'm really worried. He doesn't run at all. He had 42 yards rushing, like 42. That's not very many. and if you're comparing him to a player like Brady and saying, well, Brady doesn't run. Brady threw for 4,500 yards this year and was barely a top 12 quarterback. So Brady is up here. Mac Jones, I like it, but if I have that pick, I'm hoping that somebody in my league wants to trade up for a quarterback for that value right now while I'm on the clock.
But his middle name is McCorkle. Come on. That's got to mean
can't
something.
go wrong there.
Game. Yep, that's it. Done. Sold.
Yeah, now I see why
Right.
San Fran is potentially using 3 first-round picks on him. I mean, with that middle name, man, you're just solidifying a Super Bowl right there with that name. Jobby, 111.
111 gets interesting. We've done a couple of Twitter mock drafts, and I've been the 110 and the 111. And this draft is just so deep, guys. I mean, it is so deep, especially now that we talk about Mac Jones being in the first round. The first 2 times we did this, guys, he wasn't getting the hype he has been getting now, thinking that he might go 3rd overall. He was in the 2nd round. And so now we add him to the first. We got 5 quarterbacks. That's pushing down your Jalen Waddles, your Kyle Pitts, your Rashad Bateman's, there's just a lot of ways I could go here. But I think we're at the point where I'd love to take Kyle Pitts. This is where I have him, and this is where I think that it's just too good to pass up. I really like Bateman. I really like the upside that you can have with Waddle. But with the depth of this wide receiver class, maybe I can swing back in the 2nd round and get a close level wide receiver there. But I don't think I'm getting a tight end like that in the 2nd. So I will go Kyle Pitts.
Like to finish out the first name that you just brought up, Robbie, I will take Rashad Bateman here at 112. He is my wide receiver 2 in this class, even though he is 2 inches shorter and 20 pounds lighter than I thought. But the dude he plays how he's listed at Minnesota versus what he weighed in and measured at. at his pro day. So like that doesn't really bother me at all. I think he is one of the safer picks. Maybe his upside isn't as high as somebody like a Chase or even like a Waddle if he gets into the right system. But I think to have Bateman here at the end of the first, I'm not going to complain about that. And we will go to Zach for the 201.
J. Mike, are you looking at this board? Are you looking at the fact that I've now got the quarterback 1, the wide receiver 1, and the other wide receiver 1 on my team now because Rondale Moore just fell to me at 201?
There it is.
Let's go.
I've got Rondale Moore graded out as my highest film grade out of anybody in this class. And that's not to say that he'll go ahead of Jamar Chase for me when things shake out and we get draft capital landing spots. But I absolutely love the value that I can get with Rondale Moore right here. And I think that the name of the game in fantasy football is PPR. It's points per reception. And nobody drives targets like Rondale Moore. He's going to be open for whatever type of quarterback you've got. If it's a guy like Dak Prescott who needs that separation, Rondale Moore drives that separation. He's got great short area quickness. He's great in and out of his breaks. And if you've got a guy who can throw the ball over the top, it really won't surprise me to see teams occasionally let Rondale Moore loose because he's got that blazing speed. And I know he had 19 balls that were over 20 yards in the air. But if you watch those, like he's creating that don't say this too loud, but he's creating that Tyreek Hill type separation with his speed downfield. And I think that you're going to see him come out and buck this trend of being, too short and too light and whatever else you have it. So I'm going to take Rondale Moore at 201 and man, I'm really feeling good about my rebuild, fellas.
Zach, talk to us about really quickly that film grade. Do you put in things like injury history or anything else, or is it just purely what you saw on film and that's the film grade, and then you'll add in all the other stuff afterwards?
It's purely what I saw, but to me, the injury and all of the combine stuff gets baked in with draft capital.
Sure.
Because if I start counting all of that stuff, then it stops being a film grade, and I have to worry about what I'm double counting and what I'm not. Yep. And so it just it was the hamstring injury where he like tore his hamstring is not necessarily something that you're worried about. It was kind of a one of you're worried about him tweaking it and little things like that. But you also saw him again come back this year, and in the little bit of time you saw him, he was fantastic. You're not really worried about a lower body injury from a guy who can squat 600 pounds. Like it's just he's built like a fire hydrant, and I absolutely love that with the separation he can create and with the speed he's got. He's not going to be a guy who plays out on the boundaries because you've got to have some really interesting angles to get him the ball out there. The throw's got to be perfect, but you can get him over the middle and you can get him down the seam, and he can do some serious damage.
I love it.
Yeah, real quick while we're here and we have the Debbie guy on here. Dwight, can you enlighten us about Rondale's like high school career? Was he a 3-star or 4-star, or what's his pedigree as a recruit coming up? I like to have that little piece of info as I go into my rookie drafts here.
Berg loves his pedigree.
We on the spot here. He was a 4-star, 230th ranked in the class, so definitely not exactly highly. It's funny is he was 5'9", 175 coming out, so somehow he shrunk 2 inches in the process of 4 years. So,
is there a chance they did it wrong? Is there a chance that he's actually not what the measurement was during the pro day? Like, I just feel like this is really weird.
I would guess yes. I would guess he's probably 5'8", probably right in the middle of those. It's who cares? I mean, like Zach said, the dude's he's like a cheat code, so you just hope he can stay healthy and a team gets creative and uses him the right way. And he doesn't land in some place like Cincinnati or something to like give us somewhere creative. So.
Before we kick it over to J Mike for the 202, just a big shout out to the homie Walito coming through with that $5 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Very very appreciative. Even if that is Canadian money, it is still appreciated. I think that comes out to what, like a buck 17 US money. I think.
Can we get it converted to poutine? Like I want poutine with that $5. Can we do
Hell
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sounds good, man. J Mike, who you got, bud?
At the 202, following in Zach's footsteps, I get my QB2. I get my wide receiver 1 on film grade. And I get my wide receiver 2 on film grade as well. What? Shout out to Walito in the chat. I see you, Walito. Thank you again for the donation, even though I'm not necessarily TFA. But a bunch of my boys are there, so I'm with it. Yeah, here we go. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. Like, listen, I have a tier of about 4 players in terms of my top tier of wide receiver grades, and Waddle is number 2. And since I didn't give a ton of stuff to chew on in the first round because we kind of zoomed through it, I will give show Jalen Waddle a little bit of love here. It's driving the analytics group crazy. Figure out how to deal with the Waddle, but obviously the elite trait is the speed. Obviously he's a specialty out of the slot, and we saw him grow. He's one of these guys that we got to see a ton of over the course of 3 seasons, even though the last season was cut short. We watched him grow over the years, go from being just a weapon that they put in motion to a punt returner, to being someone who consistently eats cushion and is a space eater and just a destroyer of cornerbacks' dreams. 2019, we see him running wide open all the time, even though the ball was going predominantly to Judy Ruggs and Smith. But in the open field, he's a problem. Deep over routes, he's a problem. He's able to create separation at all levels, and became a much better route runner, more precise, able to break more consistently on a dime when it comes to creating space, specifically in the short to intermediate areas. He wins contested catches. Listen, Jalen Waddle is someone that I am wildly excited about drafting any and everywhere if I can have him on my team. I guess the one concern would be, is he's going to be someone that you build your offensive passing game around, or is he going to be someone that is going to drive targets? I think that he can be that kind of weapon for an offense. So, yes, I'm here for the Jalen Waddle Express. Bring it here.
J Mike, one of the popular landing spots in NFL mocks has been to the Giants. Thoughts on that potential landing spot?
Not good, Bob. Not great, Bob. But as we've seen before, specifically in these last few drafts, landing spots for a wide receiver is not something that's going to concern me when I have a player that I truly believe in the talent for. Oftentimes people will reference A.J. Brown, will reference Justin Jefferson, who we were trumpeting last season, like, oh, he can't even get on the field. He's not the one in Minnesota, and blah, blah, blah. Broken rookie wide receiver season later. Everyone can't stop talking about the man. So landing spot is not something I'm going to concern myself with when it comes to Jalen Waddle, even if he gets stuck with Cristiano Ronaldo, Danny Dimes Jones in New York.
And I thought I was going to get hit with a Christian Hackenberg reference there, J Mike. Thought we were going to have to come in fisticuffs.
I wouldn't split your scars open like that, bro.
I want whatever team gets Trey Lance to get Jalen Waddle. Let's put it that way. That'd be a lot of fun. So.
Hot. Berg. There we go. Turn that light on, baby. Shine
bright like a diamond. So I have my pick in hand here. I'm ready to go to the table and make the announcement. But I would like to say that as I was looking here to make my pick, does anyone else feel like we might have hit the tier break moment in the draft here? And we're going to start drafting guys who, just aren't as viewed as highly or regarded as highly as the first names we just went through.
For sure. Yeah.
Maybe. I'll tell you when it's my
almost the only
pick,
one.
Burger.
Almost.
Okay, well, my pick is the same as it was with my second pick in the mock we did, I think, in February. It's Elijah Moore, wide receiver, out of Ole
Bastard.
Miss. This guy, he's been comped as a discount Rondale Moore. Not much of a discount, as Rondale went like 2 picks before this, but he led the nation in 2020 in receptions per game. As Zach highlighted, PPR is the name of the game. So this guy, he's athletic. He's exciting. I feel like analytics Twitter likes him, and I don't get too wrapped up in that, but I do pay attention to that, and I'm in on Elijah Moore. And he's also getting first-round buzz. I've seen it. I've seen it out there.
Now, Berg, are you stepping off of your prospect snobbery to take Elijah Moore here? I don't know that he was too highly coveted coming into college.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is a dent in the armor. But no, I think he's certainly risen in the ranks through college, and I'd be excited to get a guy like this in this position. I feel like he has a lot of upside in that Deebo Samuel mold as well. Not that Deebo was that great this year; he's kind of banged up, but someone who has that home run capability, but can also get 7 or 8 catches a game as well.
Robbie, I know whenever you were a little drunk the other night, you put out a tweet about Elijah Moore being the actual Moore that you want, and Joe H is in here saying the Moores went in the wrong order. Does anybody else have Elijah over Rondale?
Not over, but pretty
No.
damn close. Yeah.
No.
I think
Two
Elijah's-
tiers.
No,
2 tiers separate
No.
those guys.
No,
2
no,
tiers.
no
Yes.
way.
Okay,
Nope.
I'm back in this. 2 years ago it was AJ Brown. Last year it was Justin Jefferson. This year it's Rondale Moore. I'll take all the flack. That's fine. I'll sit here and face the music. But you better be ready. I'm coming back after you next year at this time.
All right. Bring
I
it
love
on.
it. I love that. They are very close for me. I do have Elijah Moore just a tick above, but I'd be really happy to get either one of these guys where they're going. Honestly, at the beginning of round 2, man, Elijah Moore just has big sticky mitts. Man, he catches just everything. He is so shifty, and I think you could use the word shifty, playmaker, sticky hands, and you're talking about either Moore, right? They do really similar things, but I do like the route tree a little bit more with Elijah Moore. I guess I've just seen him do more, and it's maybe a little bit more of a projection with Rondale. As we noted a little bit earlier, just the down the field targets could be there, but we just haven't seen that on a consistent basis, and maybe that was the Purdue offense. But yeah, 2 really great options. I am with Joe, but I am definitely in the minority there.
I am team Zac Reed for this one. I'm all about that Rondale. It was between Rondale and Bateman whenever I took that pick at 112. So I'm right there with you. Dwight, you were up at 204.
I'll go Terrace Marshall here. He seems like he was kind of forgotten throughout a lot of this process. He's gotten a little bit of buzz lately, but I think he's a very athletic, very good wide receiver, nightmare to cover. Really hoping he gets the draft capital to go with this. This class is just so damn deep, but I like how smooth he is. He's got really good size, speed, former 5-star. There you go, David. He's got that draft pedigree for you. So I'll go Terrace Marshall here. I really wanted Elijah, though. But, yeah, I'll take Terrace.
yeah, I considered him with my pick, but analytics Twitter, I believe, is out on Terrence and in on Elijah, and I'm not joking. That what made me
That's true.
pick who I picked.
Yeah.
Dwight, got to thank you because Jarrett was about to report us if you did not take Terrace. He's someone I need, like we talked before show, J Mike, you were talking about needing to go back with Trey Sermon. I think I need to go back on Terrace Marshall. I feel like I need to double back and go back to him and check him out just to make sure, in your words, that I'm not tripping, that I'm not that I'm not missing something and fucking something up with him. So
I think with Terrace, I just think with Terrace, I think people are just doing a lot of projecting, which is okay. I just wish people would say that when they talk about Terrace being this high. Like that, I don't know what in his profile says like first round wide receiver, unless you're saying it's a projection, because we could look up in a few years and he could be that good. Like he could be really good. But when we look at him in the scope of the guys that are currently in this class, or all those guys that went ahead of him, I just don't know how you can say that he's a better receiver than those guys right now. Like I don't see that, but I respect it. I mean, obviously, none of us right. know how this is all going to shake out. So that's just
why he
my
went 204. Yeah, that's why he went 204. That's
when you go back
belongs, yeah.
When you go back to watch your Terrace Marshall tape, check out the last 3 games of Keyshawn Vaughn also. Because he was the guy who filled in for Marshall when Marshall opted out or shut it down or whatever it was that he ended up doing, and he rolled up some numbers too. So like, let that color a little bit of your view of Marshall too.
Yeah, that booty is filthy.
Oh, rocking everywhere, as it were.
booty, rock.
Oh, go ahead and follow that up, Jobby.
That's a tough act to follow up. Speaking of guys that I need to go back and watch the tape on, not because I need to, not because I'm too low on him, but just because it's so much damn fun. Michael Carter is the next pick, and I'll watch tape on him every single day and twice on Sundays. I think I really enjoy when I am in a mock draft with J. Mike and Cody, and I get myself some Michael Carter. So I don't need to make any more picks. I'm done. This has been fantastic, boys. I'll take the rest of the questions off air.
Well,
not a great pro day though, right? I mean, for him or Devonte. Am I right or wrong on that?
His agility drills were filthy. It was like a 4.5 40. He kept like the same weight from the Senior Bowl. I think he might have been like a pound lighter. But his agility drills, I think, were both in like the 92nd percentile or higher.
Okay. I was getting a little wrapped up in the 4.5 40.
Yeah, and I think with both of those guys, neither of them are that elite speed guy, and that's absolutely fine. You don't need that. With Michael Carter, it kind of seemed like his pro day showed well with what he did on tape, right? He is just J. Mike, I believe you throw out the term just in a phone booth, right? You can't tackle him, and that, I think you just see that with that 3-cone, with that burst that he can just get up to speed quickly. And same with Devonte. I mean, he had a lot of that stuff. And then on top of Devonte, he just throws up 22 reps on the bench, just showing that strength. Both those guys, I think their pro days were just fine.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about their 40s, even though for some reason Twitter was freaking out about Javonte's 40 for whatever reason, as if we've never seen like a mid 4.5 running back be successful. Like as if they all run 4.42s. Just like I did not. I think if there was anything to freak out about, it was the fact that Devonte came in at 212. Not that it bothered me, but I was surprised to see his weight was that slight, considering how he played at UNC. So
yeah, Cody, real quick before you go on, I kind of wanted to bring this up when we talked about Bateman. It seemed like a lot of these guys came in lighter than what they played at, or what it appeared that they played at, right? And I wonder if that was trying to get the times up, or trying to just have better agility, whatever it was. I just noticed this year it seemed like a lot of people weighed in lighter than, and we're talking 10, 15 pounds sometimes lighter. So I don't know if he plays at 215, and if he does, he doesn't actually play at 215. I mean, Devonte runs like he's 230 sometimes. So, not worried about the 212.
Yeah.
I am curious about draft capital for Carter. Where do you guys think he'll go? You think he'll go by the third round or after?
I think he's going later than that. I think you've seen running backs get pushed back further and further. NFL teams are smartening up where, the further back you take guys, the less you have to pay them. That fifth year, that option is not really worth it unless you're taking somebody up in the top tier like a Saquon. And even that, I think you can argue was detrimental to the Giants. And I think a guy like Michael Carter, to me, profiles as that pass catcher plus that guy who comes in and is your satellite back, but if there's an injury, he can come in and assume the full-time role. But I don't think you're drafting him to come in and be a full-time running back. So I could be wrong about that, but that's just the way it feels to me.
But if he goes round 5 or later, I mean, the dream is over, right?
No, he won't go that late. I think round 4. Yeah,
Round 4.
that's what I think.
But even that, like
Maybe 5.
we get so caught up in so yes, if he goes after day 2, you're not excited about spending a first round pick on him, but you're not spending a first round rookie pick on him. You may not even be spending a second round rookie pick on him. Like we're a lot further down my board with Michael Carter than where he just went. And so I think that a mid-second, late second, early third for Michael Carter, you're feeling good about it, even if his draft capital isn't great, because running backs have that ability to come in and you see guys put up numbers even if they weren't drafted highly because of situation. I mean, James Robinson last year was undrafted. Yeah. And he was a top 5 fantasy asset because there was nobody else left in Jacksonville. I mean, you see that happen time and time again, especially with a guy who can do both things, where he's got that pass catching upside. He's a very good pass catcher. He's 25 receptions each of the last 2 years, but he's also got the ability to, in a pinch, carry the ball. And if you've got that, I mean, that's all you can ask for when you're firing off second and third round rookie picks.
For sure. And you saw Myles Gaskin put some respect on 7th rounders' names last year.
Savon Ahmed did the same thing. I mean, it's guys that are when I start looking at this area in a draft, I'm looking for, and I just said it, but pass catcher plus. It's the guys who when I'm looking through stats, I want to see a guy have at least one season in college of 20 receptions. And it's not predictive. It's not that will mean that they're a pass catcher, but I think the NFL is not necessarily very forward thinking when it comes to prospects. They're not trying to develop players, so they're not going to draft a guy and make him do something that they've never seen him do. So if you've got a guy like Michael Carter who's proven as a pass catcher, I think the chance of him getting receiving work is very likely. And then the chance of somebody getting injured in front of him, it's running backs. I mean, that happens all the time. All of a sudden he slides in and you've got, 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, TJ Yeldon did it. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, just some of these guys are going to bust. And I don't know. Recently, Michael Carter feels like a guy who could bust and not it could just, he's got exciting.
Berg, that'll be enough out of you. You were muted.
You're on the wrong pod for that.
And I will be taking one of your Emmys. That is offensive to the rest of us here.
Sorry, moving on.
I'm going to double up on the UNC players. I'm going to plant my flag here, and I'm taking wide receiver Dyami Brown. Probably a couple safer picks I could have went with here. He might have fallen to me at 212, but I am not willing to take. All right, here we go. Yes. So, Zach, you were talking about with Rondell Moore, how, it wouldn't surprise you to see him do more at the next level. And I think it's like Dyami is the same, but in reverse. So UNC only used him as a down the field threat. I think he has the tools. We've seen some of the nuance in his game to be able to develop into more of a short and intermediate all around wide receiver, but they just didn't need to use him in that way. He was so good at getting deep. Had himself a really solid pro day. It's nothing spectacular, but he ran like a mid 4.4, which is fine. Came in at, I think, 6 foot 190. So the size isn't an issue either. But I just really like Dyami Brown. Like I said, I think J. Mike, you were talking about projecting Terrace Marshall. This is absolutely a projection on my part because I think he can become a more well-rounded receiver than what we saw at UNC. And he's absolutely he's a 2, right? I don't think he's fit to be the alpha wide receiver 1 for a team, but I think he could be a really, really good wide receiver 2, especially if you pair him up with an alpha. So De'Ami Brown, 206.
Yeah, I like that. That would have been my next pick. So that was a great. Like I think De'Ami Brown profiles as probably the next best X type receiver, that outside on an island receiver behind Jamar Chase. I mean, I think he's got 3 release moves off press and can go get it. And most of the people that knock him were worried about drops. Drops don't actually matter. I mean, they look bad. You feel bad when your guy drops it in a clutch situation, but like in the grand scheme of things, if you're getting 120 targets or whatever, drops don't matter. So I really like that pick, and I like it even more because Walito and I are going to have some fun here because my next pick is going to be Kenneth Gainwell, and I saw him drop that in. He's actually my running back 4 on film. I don't know if he'll end up being running back 4 once the draft shakes out because you have to take draft capital into account. But you like what he did where he came in a little heavier than what you thought he was going to be. And again, you talk about pass catching upside. Kenny Gainwell is the best pass catching back in this class. For my money, you can split him out wide if you want to. And he can run those flies. He actually had, it was probably like 4 or 5 on wheel routes or being split outside where he was making catches on back shoulder throws, which is not something you see from running backs very often. Usually you're seeing running backs doing like the Travis Etienne, like trying to catch it, trying to body catch it, corral it in. And here's Gainwell going down the field, making back shoulder catches. I mean, he caught 51 balls in 2019. Memphis. Yeah, like Memphis, I know that people are like, oh, they've churned out running backs and we're not really sure what's going on. And that's fine. But I think if you're talking upside, if you're talking the end, middle end of the second round, you can go a lot worse than Kenny Gainwell.
I totally agree. I considered him with my pick earlier in this round, but I didn't want to go 3 running backs in a row and then just be that guy.
Oh, so sometimes you got look. If we're all zagging, you got to zig. You got to go grab Gainwell. I mean, I would never like. And I know that's a thing. Like people worry about like their roster construction and these things, and like I'm worried about that later. Like we're having a rookie draft before I need to have a lineup. So I'm just going to go find the players that I think are going to be the best players, and if I have to wheel and deal later, I will. But stack your roster with the guys that you think are the best players and the guys that you think are going to produce, and especially with running backs, you can get that quick flip where you can draft a running back, they'll come out and put up numbers, and people will be like, oh, I need them on my team, and you can get out of that. And if you pick Gainwell in the second, and all of a sudden he comes off and has a James Robinson season, or even maybe not quite that, but if he ends up in the top 24 and everyone's excited about his receptions, you can flip that. You might get into the back end of the first somewhere, or you may be able to package him and get a player that you want. So I'm never worried about that roster construction in the middle of a rookie draft.
Yeah, I love how you say that, because my co-host on the Dino Show, Tom Corson, says you don't set a lineup in May, you don't set a lineup in June, and I think we've seen this, J-Mike, with your team in Kamikaze. You were collecting a lot of running back talent, and you were talking to me about Aaron Jones, and I looked at your roster, I was like, why are you going after Aaron Jones? You have Saquon, you have Miles Sanders, you had like 2 other guys, like you had 4 of the top 10 backs. Like now you want Aaron Jones? Like quit stealing off our talent, man. And I think what you had said to me is you're just trying to get talent right now, and it'll figure itself out by the time September comes. So I really like that point.
Yeah. The thing about it is, at this point, it's like just want to be able to raise my ceiling for my team, right? So we can figure the rest out later. Right now, I just want to be able to try to push ceilings up, and I think that in the offseason is something that often we miss. Something that we kind of think about because we want to try to piece things together, have them flow really nicely, because if it feels good now, it's definitely going to feel good in September, right? Right. And it's like, no, not so much. So, anywho, shout out to the compadres.
Yeah, and real quick, Zach, you mentioned the quick flip of the running backs. Let's not forget that Keyshawn Vaughn was a freaking darling after his third round draft capital last year. You could have.
Berg, are you trying to get muted twice?
You gotta be paying attention to who you're listening to. Like I've got a very select few people that I'll pay attention to, and you've got to narrow that focus down, because you fall into that trap where Keyshawn Vaughn,
but what I'm saying is, like, he rose in value because of that, and people were after him, and you could have flipped him.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he was like, he wasn't like, he definitely moved up rounds with his draft capital, and like, you could have easily flipped him for like, now he's DOA essentially.
He'll be back because everybody loved him. So when he gets in there a couple of plays, people will be back on him. But
fools,
fools. It's wild, man. It's wild.
Bunch of dynasty dummies. That's all those people are.
2023, the Keyshawn Vaughn breakout year. J Mike, after you collect yourself here, you are up with the next pick at 208.
So when Coleman, when you took Diami at 206, I knew that was going to create a problem for me, because I knew that Zach was going to end up going Gainwell there. So
Gainwell was the other one in contention for me at 6.
Okay, so you guys colluded against me either way, so that's okay. The reason I say that is because this puts me in a really interesting place when it comes to tiering for me. I have a running back that I'm really excited about, but specifically because I'm picking directly in front of Berg, I'm not going to take this running back. I'm going to crush Berg's dreams. Give me wide receiver Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State. Under normal circumstances, I might go a different route, but Tylan is in the same tier of wide receivers for me. Contested catch maven. Hopefully, we continue to see the burst that he had as a youngster kind of come back to him after that ACL injury. But I am curious to see how the NFL views Tylan after being just a production monster just 2 seasons ago. So Tylan Wallace is the pick here at 208.
Well, I would love to say you snipe me, but I haven't really picked my next guy yet. But I am a big Tylan guy. Mainly he came on my radar in my Debbie research for Pigs 2, studying up for a Debbie auction like 2 years ago, and his sophomore tape was incredible. I mean, the guy is one of the best ball trackers, one of the best like contested catch guys, I think, in this draft. I love Tylan Wallace. I just think he's a big play guy, and I like his potential upside. But I have to say, after listening to Zach and J Mike's analyses on the Dummies pod, I was a little bit crestfallen because they made a lot of sense what you guys are saying. So fading him a little bit. But I do love me some Tylan. All right.
Berg, before you make this pick, I just want to throw this out real fast. So obviously last year with our scouts stuff, when we were mocking and talking a lot about things, you were really big on Ruggs in our chats and everything else. And then when we got to mocks and actual drafts, you weren't taking Ruggs
nowhere to be found.
I think that Tylan's your new Ruggs this year. You say he's your guy. You say that's your man's, and you get your feet put to the fire, and you take somebody else.
Okay, first of all, I would like to defend myself. If you check my Twitter and you search Carl Jr. Ruggs, you will see that in the fall of his last season in college when I replied to someone who projected him to Oakland, and I put the skull and crossbones emoji. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as he went to the Raiders, I was like, this isn't going to work out for my man Ruggs. So that was actually the main reason I faded him. If he had another spot, I would have been all in. But I have to say, listen, you got to listen to people that you think are smart, and a lot of smart people put Ruggs in a very particular bucket of unlikely to succeed. So, yeah, listen, you can fall in love with a player, but you got to be like water. That's the popular thing on podcasts to say. You got to be like water.
I just thought that the skull and crossbones was just your endorsement of him landing with the Raiders, but
yeah, the Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
No, it was like
anyway. I'm sorry.
He is now dead to me. All right, guys, this is a tough pick for me because there's a few guys that I feel like could land here, and I'm not super passionate about any of them. So I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, mainly because he looked pretty good with my boy Keaton Slovis, who I'm a big fan of, and he's got that background where his brother's in the NFL. He's got some splash plays that he had at USC. I don't know. I just feel like of the players of this bucket of guys that are left that I won't. I guess I could name them, but that would spoil who the next picks will be. But yeah, I kind of just lean St. Brown here.
I was hoping he was going to slide to me because that would have been a very easy pick. I think he's just he probably doesn't have the upside unless he gets maybe if he lands with maybe if the Texans take him in round 3 just because they don't have anybody else outside of Cooks. But unless he gets Keenan Allen treatment where he's just going to be fed 150, 160 targets, I still think he's really safe, but probably just lacks the higher ceiling unless he gets just straight up funneled targets. But I think he's really safe, and I think he's a wide receiver that a lot of Devy people were talking about 12 months ago, and nobody, I hate to use that cliche phrase that no one's talking about now, but it really feels like no one's talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. I like that pick, Berg.
Thank you, sir.
Peebs.
All right. Am I up? Sorry.
Peebs is just sleeping with his eyes open.
No. I cut out a little bit. This sucks. What a night to have internet issues, I tell you. At 210, the pick is easy for me. I'm going to take Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, especially in any league that, if you miss out on Pitts, I think Freiermuth's a really good consolation prize. A guy that moves really well for his size, should play day one. We'll see the field. He can block that. It's something he does need to work on, his upper body strength a little bit. But he's still a good move tight end. He split out, ran routes at Penn State. He's really smooth, great hands, just a nightmare to guard in the red zone. So Freiermuth for me is especially in tight end premium, I think he could easily be a top 7 to 8 tight end in this league pretty damn quickly. So I would gladly take Freiermuth at the end of the second round here. So easy pick at 210.
Okay, I should probably watch some tape of this guy. I've been hearing a lot about him. I'm completely out on Pat. What's his name? Freiermuth?
Freiermuth.
Robbie's over here. I mean, his facial reaction when Dwight made that pick was like someone just ruined his day. This guy, he must be a stud.
He's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
couldn't let him get the Cody in the Penn State hat. So.
Yeah, I think with all the Pitts talk, you don't hear about a lot of these other guys as much as you should. And I think Freiermuth, if Pitts weren't in this class, you'd be talking about him in the first round, like we've seen some of these other guys in previous years. I definitely think Pitts is overshadowing him, and he is in his own class above the rest of these tight ends after him at tight end too. So that was a really good pick. I thought he might make it back to me.
Well, he did not. So how are you going to rebound from that, Robert?
Well,
can I just start typing now?
Be water.
Well, there is a way I could rebound that would be with my heart, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I think this player is super polarizing, and I've seen a lot of thoughts all over the place. Analytically, he has some things that are really exciting from an athletic standpoint, and analytically from a college standpoint and production standpoint, not quite as great. So I think there's a lot of people split on Kadarius Toney, but man, I think he does a lot of things really well once you get the ball into his hands. And if we talk about Rondale Moore and we talk about Elijah Moore, and you 12 picks after where they're going, and I know I'm taking him a little bit earlier here, but in a lot of mocks, you'll see him in the third round of rookie mocks, I should say. I just think he offers a lot of what those two guys do at a discounted price. So when you look at the actual NFL mocks and he's going in the top 40 picks, sometimes late first, sometimes early second, I think maybe the NFL is higher on him than the dynasty community is. And so I'll be the one that maybe by de facto stands for him because I do like what he does when you get the ball into his hands and he's able to create. And he's got twitch that is very crazy. I think it's rare in some players. And so, yeah, Kadarius Toney is a player that I'll take here at, what are we at, the 211?
211, yep. and you've become the new Berg.
That's your guy.
I don't want to hear any more about Trey Sermon. Now that you just took Toney ahead of him, you're done. You're off
I
the
took
Sermon
Michael
train.
Carter. If I hadn't taken Michael Carter, I would have just snapped it up. But going back to here, Zach just tells us, not even 30 minutes ago, just follow your heart. You gotta keep going with what you think. Don't change your plan here. And I'm already forgetting his great advice. So maybe he'll make it back. I mean, some of you guys have to go back and watch Trey Sermon. I think he can make it back to me at the 305.
I actually thought about Toney with my pick because you're right about the NFL liking him. I'm seeing a lot of stuff out there that he might be drafted on potentially day one. So I feel like in every year there's a guy who is in the draft, is a wide receiver who's drafted in the first round and then somehow makes it to like the late second round because of all the narratives built around him in the draft process, and everyone just like ignores the first round draft capital.
Yeah, and I won't say that those questions about his game are unfounded because they are. I mean, we're talking about a player that for most of his career he was learning the wide receiver position. He was not producing until this last year, so they're not without merit. But we're talking about late second, early third, and some other rookie mocks. So that's where I want to shoot for upside, and that's what I think he has.
That would have been my pick. I assumed you were taking Trey Sermon, and I was going to take. I had Toney all queued up for a lot of the same reasons that you were talking about, Robbie. But you pulled a Berg, as they call it. I think that is a thing. You pulled a Berg. So to finish out the second, I'm going to go Kylan Hill here, running back. To me, he's like in that fifth spot for me, with someone like Trey Sermon. He might not have the upside or the higher athleticism of Trey Sermon, but I think he's definitely more consistent on a play-to-play basis, and that's why I like him over Sermon. I think he's one of these guys who's probably going to get, late day 2, early day 3 draft capital. I would love to see him, land with the Steelers. I think that would be a good landing spot for him. Immediately would become the best running back in that group. But he's someone who I just think could, if he ends up on a shallow depth chart, that he could easily take that over and end up being the guy for a team. I do think that he was I do think he has some things to clean up. Like I think he needs to work on his patience, and I think that his patience kind of makes it seem like his vision is worse than what it actually is, because he's just one of those players who, as soon as he gets the ball, I think he needs to get into a gap scheme where it's just like, hey man, you're going B gap here. It's like, all right, I hope that hole's fucking open because I'm gonna run there. But I feel like he had more catches in 3 games under the genius that is Mike Leach than he did in any of his previous years. So like me some Kylan Hill, and then if we just want to go kind of rapid fire here through round 3, let's jump into that. So Zach, you have 301. Who do you like here in the third?
Oh, now I'm going to fire off some shots at running backs, I think. And my board says one thing, but I think I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard just to mess with J Mike and
dirty dog.
And get that potential upside. You know, he went 4.48 at his pro day, although some people said unofficial 4.36. Let's not get crazy. But he's fast enough, he's athletic enough, and he is one of the few backs in this class outside of those first 3 that went that has the size and also the pedigree to be an every down back. I mean, he's done it before. He's had two seasons where he had over 20 catches. He also had a season where he had over 300 carries and over 2,000 yards. And so I think that's where I'll head. It's the pass catcher plus profile with Chuba Hubbard, and now you're just hoping that he ends up with some draft capital.
J Mike. 302. Yeah, because I was.
I got him reeling now. I got him reeling.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled. You pull the okie doke. Now I'm gonna take your guy, and I'm not gonna be very happy about it. 302 running back out of Oregon State, Jamar Jefferson.
You may be happy about it though. He's pretty
maybe,
good.
but I was like, oh, Chuba at 302. Yes, please.
Jamar too.
303. Was that did you Berg?
I'm going with Robbie's guy, Trey Sermon here, and I'm pretty ecstatic about it, actually. I feel like this is a round where I got Antonio Gibson last year. If you can hit on some of these maybe unheralded or guys that just they don't have the headline name here in the third round that could really, I mean, a Trey Sermon in the third round, this guy could easily end up leading a backfield through injury, through, you know, there's a million scenarios in which he could be handling the rock 20 times a game for a team. So I liked what I saw of him at Ohio State. And after Master Teague went down, and he just ate up teams. I think he had a 300-yard game or something insane. Give me some Trey Sermon. I always say I think this guy's going to end up on Angry Runs on NFL Network.
Dwight, 304.
You guys took the 3 guys I was wanting, so we'll go back to we'll just pray that this pro day was not something that it was an anomaly. We'll go with Rev Jordan, the only other tight end that I'm really that interested in this year.
Like that pick.
What we saw on tape was, definitely not what we saw at the pro day. He looked like a very fast, good wide receiver. He plays like a wide receiver, hands like a wide receiver, moves like a wide receiver at the tight end spot. Can't block for a lick, but and then he goes to the pro day and what did he run, like a 4.66 or something like that? I mean, you didn't see that on tape. So I'll take a shot at Rev Jordan at this juncture.
Jobby.
Yeah, 305. It's really close for me between Tamora Terry and Kellen Mond, and I think I might be on an island here, maybe picking Kellen Mond at this spot, but I think he's been rising up a lot of people's actual NFL mocks. I think he actually goes earlier than when a lot of people thought. I think a lot of people were thinking 4th round, 5th round, but I've seen him a lot in 2nd and 3rd round. And I think when you look at maybe an upside past what Kyle Trask can do, I think he might be the 6th quarterback, off the board. There's also the Stanford QB as well. But if we're talking super flex and we're talking mid 3rd round where you have these dart throws, I do think he's a quarterback that does have potential. He's probably going to, be a development guy, but this is a guy that I think if somebody goes down, that what's a pick that can automatically just shoot up in value? It's your quarterbacks, right? So if he's a backup somewhere, he starts getting some starts in him. I think the value shoots up faster than any other position. I'll go quarterback there, Kellen Mond.
Robbie, I like everything you said about quarterback. It all makes a bunch of sense, but I like the name Tamorian Terry more than the nice points you just laid out about quarterback and shooting up value. taking the home run swing here with the wide receiver out of Florida State. Size, speed, drops. That's that's what he is. But I don't if he can clean up some of his inconsistencies, he could be a massive value here in the middle of the third.
I feel like he had an up and down life as a Devi prospect. About a year ago this time, people were like trying to trade for him.
That's most people at Florida State.
Yeah, so he's kind of coming in certainly, not as heralded as I expected a year ago this time. So, I mean, people saw something at one point. So getting him here this late, definitely worth a dart throw.
Mr. Steele, you need to pay attention a little closer, sir. He was taken ahead of Chuba, so take your anger somewhere else. Zach, 307, who you got?
I think I'm going to take another shot at a running back, and I'm going to go with Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, and that's going to be again, J. Mike and I haven't talked about him. He's going to be part of the next show that we do, but another guy who's had a 20-catch season, had a 1,000-yard rushing season, and also ran a 4.39, had a little eye-opening pro day. I really like his 3-cone, sub-7-second 3-cone, means he's getting side to side pretty quick. And so I'll take the upside shot there with Elijah Mitchell.
J. Mike.
I like the Raging Cajun program. They have athletes.
308. The only trepidation I have in taking this player here is that he does not pass the Zac Reed rule. But I will be taking, because I like what I've seen on film so far, Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech here at 308.
Big fan as well of him, J. Mike.
Berg.
All right. I am going to go with Seth Williams, wide receiver out of Auburn. He's kind of a throwback prototypical wide receiver. I feel like this new era are these smaller guys that are awesome in space and twitchy and fast. Seth Williams has got size and not that much speed. But I liked what, Zach, you said on your podcast analysis. What really kind of stuck with me was his ability in the end zone. The goal line looks for this guy, and the name of the game is getting touchdowns. And I do feel like he could land on a team that works him. Listen, he might not be a PPR monster getting 10 catches a game, but he might get 2 or 3 red zone looks a game. And the name of the game is scoring touchdowns. So I feel like Seth, especially at this spot in the draft, is a great value.
Walito coming through again because J. Mike pandered. So J. Mike, we appreciate you doing that for us and for the TFA channel. Dwight, who you got here?
Come on, for the record, y'all don't pay me enough to pander. Just for the record.
Come
but
on.
Anyway,
dance for the Canadian cash, J. Mike. Come on. Anyways, yeah, we're the dart throw territory. One of my favorite players is Jarrett Patterson. I realize the ceiling is not there. He's a smaller dude, but I love his vision, change of direction, how much he creates on his own. He ran for like 19,000 yards in 3 years. So he's just fun to watch, man. I realize he's never going to really have a role in the NFL, but I'll take a shot in the late 3rd round on him. So love Jarrett Patterson.
Robbie.
A running back who did pass Zac Reed's standards in a season would be Demetric Felton. He had 96 receptions over his past 3 seasons. Kind of a hybrid guy that they might play him at wide receiver. They might play him at running back. I don't think it really matters. He is a pass-catching athlete that can also run the football. Kind of a Theo Riddick, and that's not a sexy comp, but that's a guy who just consistently was a fantasy producer. Maybe not the high end, but he's always somebody that you could throw out for a start and get some fantasy appeal from. So I like this pick, 311 with Demetric Felton.
Senior Bowl guy.
Yep.
to get on Berg's radar, you either need to be a 5-star or a Senior Bowl standout. That is that is the way that it goes. Well, you have to meet one of those two criteria. I'm going to finish things out here in the third. Another home run swing does not fit either of Berg's criteria here, but I'm going to go Jalen Darden, wide receiver out of North Texas. Just one of these speed guys. I mean, I think he ran like a mid 4.4, and that was disappointing for him, but he crushed everything else. Just a guy who I'm excited about, and I think all but like 3 NFL teams I think were at the North Texas Pro Day, mostly to see him. So he's someone who I am looking forward to kind of seeing like where he lands and what kind of draft capital he gets. But I'll round things out, like I said, 3-12 with Jalen Darden. We're there right before we wrap this up. Just whoever wants to throw out some names, what would be like the next name or two for some of you guys who you'd be looking for, just to give some of the folks here that are listening some other names to keep in mind whenever their rookie drafts start to pop off here.
In this range, I like Stevie Scott out of Indiana. There's 1,100 yards as a freshman, 26 receptions. And then Hunter Long, if you're talking about tight ends, and J. Mike and I talked about this last week on the Dynasty Dummies, but if you look at tight ends, that's the position that is driven more by athleticism than any other position in the NFL. And if you look at Pro Bowlers, you want athletic tight ends, and Hunter Long is in the top 15% of tight ends athletically since 1987. And so he's a guy that I think you can get a steal back in, the fourth, third, fourth, maybe fifth round in your rookie drafts.
Right. Fourth round, I'm also looking at guys like Shai Smith, Semi Fehoko. I fell in love with Fehoko when I did a profile on him. I mean, just the kid's raw as all hell.
That is a whole lot of love, though.
Yeah.
He's a big man.
He is a hell of fun to watch. So, yeah, there's Kevin. It's at 311. Yeah, I love him. So, yep. Fehoko, Shai Smith. Yep.
I have a candle lit for Nico Collins. I think he's an interesting player that as a Michigan fan, I didn't get to see his full potential, and I feel like the fact that Harbaugh handed the ball off 50 times a game did not do well for his highly touted wide receiver classes that he's had in recent times. No better example than Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was drafted like in the 7th round last year, and I feel like Nico Collins is trending in that same way, but I feel like if he gets a shot, he'll be able to produce.
Yeah, I'll just throw real quick. Mari Rogers again, slot maven, and people have comped him to the likes of a play style like Deebo Samuel. So to be able to get him, I think in the 4th round would be a nice little take there.
Robbie, any names you want to throw out here?
No, I'm in too many leagues with all y'all. I'm not throwing out any names. No, I like Josh Imator Bebe. I believe it's a bad pronunciation of that, but close enough. He's a contested catch guy, really good vertical. I think he was 99th percentile vertical. I like him a little bit. Yeah, and then you guys said a bunch of other names of some guys. There's a lot of wide receiver dart throws, I think, that are getting pushed down because of how many good wide receivers we have. So I think some of those guys might pop. Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz is another one of these, smaller, speedy guys that I like. I have no idea what to expect for his draft capital if he gets any, but Jalen Camp is someone who I'm very, very intrigued by. Unfortunately, got stuck in the triple option Georgia Tech offense, so not a lot of reps to watch with him. But another one of these big size speed guys, like Robbie was just saying. There's so many especially wide receiver dart throws this year. It's just going to be a lot of fun to see how the fourth round plays out. And it would not be a TFA show. It would not be a show led by myself without mentioning that there is bloodlines to Samuel L. Watkins entering the draft. Austin Watkins out of UAB is someone else who I am intrigued by that I will definitely be watching. I like that he's another one of these raw wide receivers, but I like the way he plays, and I'm excited to see where he goes as well. And Kevin Steele coming through, 10 big smackers on that super chat talking about Devonte Williams in a super flex. He would still take him 101. We are not that crazy. But just to run through a quick recap here, we did have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, Devonte Williams did go 104 to Mr. Dwight Peebles, Kev. So, at least he'll be on your good side tonight. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance at 106, Jamar Chase falling all the way to 107, Devonta Smith, Travis Etienne, Mac Jones, Kyle Pitts, Rashad Bateman ended round one. Then it went Rondale Moore, Jalen Waddle, Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall, Michael Carter at 205, De'Ami Brown 206, Kenneth Gainwell, Tyler Wallace, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pat Freiermuth, Kadarius Toney at 211. 212 was Kylan Hill, Chuba, Jamar Jefferson, Trey Sermon, Brevin Jordan, Kylan Mond, Tamorian Terry 306, Elijah Mitchell, Khalil Herbert, Seth Williams, Jarrett Patterson, Demetric Felton, and then Jalen Darden at 312 to round things out. So any parting shots in? Yes, Joe, this is a name that keeps coming up with those the QB dart throws that I've seen a lot of people talking about, a lot of people liking. So that's another name to throw out there for the folks as well. Any parting shots before we get out of here?
My main takeaway is that when we bring on Zac Reed along with the scouts, the Society of Collegiate Opinions, underclassmen, and talented seniors, then the money comes rolling in for TFA. Apparently, we help keep the lights on because I saw a lot of super chats and a lot of donations tonight. So we're money makers apparently, and I'm looking forward to the check that you'll be sending my way with the pennies that I'm owed. That's about it.
You obviously did not read the fine print. There are no royalties coming from TFA for any of this, so I'm sorry.
I'll tell you though, payment enough. I'm reading the chat. I got the Walito again said the winner of the night goes to J Mike with me bringing up the second prize. The dummies have come in, emerged victorious, at least for now, until everything actually happens, and then we live up to our name when the NFL draft and the season takes place.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys jumping in. Good to see some familiar faces and some new faces in the chat as well. Joe and Jarrett, welcome to the TFA stream. We appreciate you guys kicking it with us. If you are not aware, Zach is part of the Dynasty Dummies. Make sure you go follow their podcast. Follow them on Twitter as well. They are one of my favorite pods to listen to as things start to get hectic. I always try to carve out some time for the dummies. Dwight, always rocking with us. Find him at the Devi Manual. Go subscribe to his YouTube page, cutting up. He's doing the dirty work out here for us so that we can sit around and talk about these guys. So we appreciate that. Make sure you head over to the Devi Manual, hit them with the sub, doing the cut-ups for us. Robbie is Robbie, and then always the Emmy Award winner, three-time. Berg, what's do you have any shows coming out?
I have Hip Hop Uncovered currently streaming on Hulu right now. If you want to look back at hip hop right as my garbage disposal goes on in the background, if you want a fresh look at hip hop from the streets up, check it out. Hulu.
It's very good.
Thank you, Dwight. And I want to give you a shout out. I've been quite enjoying to Dev Emanuel. And I also want to say, Zach, awesome to be on a pod with you the first time. Enjoying your rookie profiles as well with J Mike.
I mean, it's like half the first time because whenever you're on the open bar, I'm always in the chat. So
well, that's true.
You know,
it's
kind of like we've been there.
Very true. Very true.
Always good to get FaceTime with all of you guys, and obviously we can't leave out J Mike, your favorites person. Appreciate all you boys joining us. Appreciate all you guys rocking with us in the chat. And until next time, we will talk to all of you soon.